Imagine this. Would you let a viper's fangs graze your skin, its venom seeping into your veins, if it promised you eternal youth? The thought is chilling. Yet thousands of years ago, women in ancient civilizations didn't just entertain this idea, they embraced it. Picture a young Egyptian maiden, her silhouette bathed in the flickering glow of oil lamps. Seated in a dimly lit chamber carved from sandstone, the air is heavy with the scent of myrrh and frankincense, curling upward in fragrant tendrils. In the corner, a woven basket rustles faintly, and a low, menacing hiss slices through the silence. Inside, a cobra, its hood flared, sways with deadly grace. This is no ordinary ritual. This is the pursuit of beauty, a beauty that bites. In the heart of ancient Egypt, where the Nile's life-giving waters nourished both crops and ambition, beauty was not just a desire. It was a divine mandate. To be beautiful was to be closer to the gods, to embody perfection in a world where the mortal and the divine danced in delicate balance. But the tools of this beauty were not powders or pigments. They were drawn from the very jaws of death itself, snake venom, the ancient world's answer to modern Botox. This is a story of paradox, where the line between life and death blurs in the name of vanity. It's a tale of women who dared to wield the deadliest substances known to their time, transforming poison into a potion of youth. How did they do it? Why did they risk everything for a fleeting glimpse of perfection? And what does their audacity tell us about the timeless human obsession with defying age? Let's step into the shadows of history, where beauty was as dangerous as it was divine. The scene is set in a temple along the Nile, 3,000 years ago. The young woman, perhaps no older than 18, is adorned in a linen gown, her eyes lined with kohl, her wrists heavy with gold bangles that clink softly as she moves. She is not alone. A priestess, her face veiled in reverence, holds a small alabaster vial, its contents shimmering with an unsettling iridescence. This is no ordinary cosmetic. It's venom, milked from the fangs of a sacred cobra, the living embodiment of Wadjet, the goddess who guarded the pharaohs. The maiden's heart races, but her expression remains serene. She knows the stakes. A single miscalculation could stop her breath forever. Yet, she leans forward, offering her face to the ritual. A drop of the venom-laced mixture is smeared across her cheeks, its cool touch sending a shiver down her spine. Within moments, her skin tightens, her features smooth, as if time itself has paused to admire her. This was the ancient art of venom beauty, a practice as mesmerizing as it was perilous. The venom, carefully diluted and blended with oils and herbs, worked a kind of alchemy on the skin. It paralyzed tiny muscles, smoothed wrinkles, and gave the face an ethereal, almost otherworldly glow. Sound familiar? It should. This ancient ritual is the distant ancestor of Botox, a modern marvel that owes its existence to the daring experiments of women who danced with death to defy age. But why venom? Why turn to a substance that could kill in seconds? The answer lies in the paradox of beauty itself. In ancient Egypt, beauty was not just skin deep, it was a statement of power, divinity, and survival. To be beautiful was to command attention, to secure alliances, to etch one's name into the annals of history. And for that, no price was too high, not even the risk of a serpent's kiss. As we unravel this story, we'll journey from the sun-scorched temples of Egypt to the marble halls of Greece, where women wielded venom with the precision of alchemists. We'll explore the science behind their rituals, the myths that inspired them, and the legacy that still lingers in our modern pursuit of youth. But for now, hold your breath as we step into the first chapter of this deadly dance with beauty, the secrets of the Nile, where the cobra's venom became a woman's most dangerous weapon. In the shadow of the pyramids, where the Nile's waters shimmered like liquid silver, the cobra was more than a creature, it was a deity. The Egyptians called it the uraeus, the rearing serpent that adorned the pharaoh's crown, a symbol of divine protection and unyielding power. At its heart was Wadjet, the goddess whose watchful eyes guarded the kings and queens of Egypt. To the ancient Egyptians, the cobra was both creator and destroyer, a paradox embodied in its venom, a substance that could kill or, in the right hands, bestow the gift of eternal youth. No figure looms larger in this story than Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, whose beauty was as legendary as her cunning. Whispers of her rituals have echoed through history, painting a picture of a queen who bathed in the essence of serpents to preserve her youthful allure. While some dismiss these tales as myth, ancient texts and archaeological clues suggest there's truth to the legend. Cleopatra, a master of spectacle and strategy, was said to have employed court alchemists who perfected the art of venom extraction. These skilled hands would coax droplets of poison from the fangs of cobras, blending them with rare oils and crushed gemstones to create a potion fit for a queen. The process was as intricate as it was dangerous. Picture a dimly lit chamber within the royal palace, its walls adorned with hieroglyphs depicting serpents and gods. A handler, trained in the sacred art, approaches a basket where a cobra lies coiled, its scales glinting like polished obsidian. With steady hands, he presses the snake's head against a taut membrane stretched over a clay vessel, coaxing its fangs to release their deadly load. The venom, a viscous, amber-hued liquid, drips into the vessel, each drop a gamble between life and death. This raw poison is then entrusted to the alchemists, who dilute it with almond oil, myrrh, and powdered lapis lazuli, a recipe believed to enhance its potency and safety. But how did this deadly substance become a beauty elixir? The answer lies in the venom's remarkable biology. Cobra venom contains proteins and peptides that, when applied in minute doses, act as a paralytic agent. These compounds target the tiny muscles beneath the skin, relaxing them to smooth out wrinkles and create a taut, youthful appearance. In essence, the venom mimics the effects of modern Botox, which uses botulinum toxin to achieve the same result. The Egyptians, without the benefit of microscopes or biochemistry, had stumbled upon a natural paralytic through centuries of trial and error. A single drop, carefully applied, could erase years from a face, but the margin for error was razor-thin. The risks were as vivid as the rewards. A misjudged dose could lead to disaster, skin inflamed with angry red welts, unbearable itching, or, in the worst cases, paralysis that spread beyond the face, stopping the heart. Ancient texts hint at women who paid the ultimate price for their beauty, their bodies found still and serene, as if frozen in a moment of divine perfection. Yet, the lure of the venom's promise was irresistible. For every cautionary tale, there were dozens of women nobles, priestesses, and queens who emerged from the ritual radiant, their skin glowing with an almost supernatural clarity. Cleopatra herself was said to have perfected the balance. Her alchemists, guided by her relentless pursuit of power and beauty, created a formula that minimized the risks while maximizing the results. Her face, described by historians as not striking but unforgettable, owed its charm to more than kohl and charisma. It was the venom of the Nile, carefully wielded, that kept her visage timeless in the eyes of her subjects and suitors alike. This Egyptian obsession with venom beauty was not just a cosmetic practice, it was a cultural cornerstone. The cobra, revered as a guardian of the divine, lent its power to those who dared to harness it. In the temples and palaces, beauty was a sacred act, a communion with the gods. But as we'll see in the next chapter, the Egyptians were not alone in their fascination with venom. Across the Mediterranean, in the marble cities of ancient Greece, women were weaving their own deadly rituals. Inspired by myths as potent as Medusa's gaze, their story, steeped in philosophy and science, reveals a new chapter in the saga of beauty that bites. Across the shimmering waters of the Mediterranean, where the marble columns of ancient Greece gleamed under the sun, beauty was not just an aspiration, it was a philosophy. The Greeks called it kalos, a divine harmony of form and spirit, a perfection that mirrored the gods themselves. In Athens and Sparta, where poets sang of symmetry and sculptors chiseled ideals into stone, women pursued this ideal with a fervor that rivaled their Egyptian sisters. But their weapon of choice was no less deadly, the venom of serpents. Wielded with the precision of a healer and the audacity of a warrior, this was the Medusa method, a practice as alluring and dangerous as the Gorgon whose gaze could turn men to stone. In Greek mythology, Medusa was a paradox, a creature of breathtaking beauty cursed with a deadly power. Her serpentine locks and petrifying stare were more than mere stories. They were metaphors for the intoxicating, perilous nature of beauty itself. The Greeks, ever fascinated by the interplay of life and death, saw in venom a reflection of this duality. Just as Medusa's gaze could freeze, snake venom could paralyze, smoothing the skin into an ageless mask. This connection was not lost on the women of Greece, who turned to the natural world to unlock the secrets of eternal youth. The story begins in the bustling agora of Athens, where women of the elite, wives of philosophers, daughters of generals, gathered in secret enclaves to share the rituals of beauty. These were not mere cosmetic sessions but sacred rites, conducted in the privacy of opulent villas or hidden groves sacred to Aphrodite. Here, under the guidance of healers trained in the traditions of Hippocrates and Galen, venom became a tool of transformation. Unlike the Egyptians, who revered the cobra as a divine protector, the Greeks approached venom with a proto-scientific curiosity. Blending mythology with the emerging art of medicine, picture a secluded courtyard, its air thick with the scent of olive oil and wild thyme. A noblewoman reclines on a cushioned recline, her face illuminated by the soft glow of a bronze lamp. Beside her stands a healer, her hands steady as she prepares a poultice. The venom, sourced from the viper native to the rocky hills of Attica, is a cloudy elixir, diluted with honey, rosewater, and crushed herbs. The healer applies it with a feather-light touch, targeting the fine lines around the eyes and forehead. The woman's breath catches as the venom takes effect, a faint tingling spreading across her skin. Within moments, her face softens, the creases of time smoothed into a serene, almost divine stillness. This was no mere vanity. In Greece, beauty was a currency of power, especially for women navigating the rigid hierarchies of Athenian and Spartan society. A flawless face could sway a suitor, secure a political alliance, or earn the favor of the gods. The Greeks believed in symmetria, the perfect balance of proportions, and venom was their secret to achieving it. The peptides in viper venom, much like those in Egyptian cobra venom, relaxed facial muscles, creating a taut, youthful appearance. Healers like those trained under Hippocrates understood this effect intuitively, documenting its use in scrolls that described venom as a gift of the earth for restoring callows. But the Medusa method was not without its shadows. The Greeks, for all their wisdom, knew the risks of tampering with nature's deadliest creations. Galen, the famed physician, warned of venom's dual nature, a healer in small doses, a killer in excess. Women who partook in these rituals faced burning sensations, swelling, or, in rare cases, paralysis that crept beyond the face. Yet, the allure of beauty outweighed the danger. In Sparta, where women were prized for their strength as much as their allure, secret societies of noblewomen exchanged recipes for venom-based salves, passing down their knowledge through generations. These rituals were steeped in secrecy, not only because of their danger but because they challenged the Greek ideal of natural beauty. To admit to using venom was to confess to artifice, a taboo in a culture that worshipped authenticity. Yet, the women of Greece persisted, their courage fueled by the same audacity that drove their Egyptian counterparts. They saw in venom a bridge between the mortal and the divine, a way to capture the fleeting perfection of youth in a world where time spared no one. As we move deeper into this story, we'll see how these rituals were performed, the meticulous steps and the heart-stopping risks. The Medusa method was not just a beauty treatment, it was a testament to the lengths women would go to wield power through their appearance. From the Nile to the Aegean, the pursuit of beauty was a dance with death, and the women of antiquity were its fearless choreographers. In the flickering light of a temple chamber or a secluded Greek villa, the ritual began with a hush, as if the very air held its breath. The pursuit of beauty in ancient Egypt and Greece was not a casual act, it was a ceremony, a delicate interplay of science, faith, and courage. Women who sought the venom's promise of youth entered these rites knowing that each step could be their last. This was the moment where theory met reality, where the serpent's kiss was no longer a myth but a tangible, tingling reality on their skin. Imagine the scene: a young Athenian noblewoman, her hair adorned with gold pins, lies on a stone bench draped with linen. Her eyes are closed, her breathing steady but shallow, betraying her nerves. Beside her, a priestess or healer, her hands calloused from years of handling deadly creatures, prepares the venom. The mixture, stored in a delicate glass vial, is a blend of viper venom and crushed pearline elixir as luxurious as it was lethal. Using a fine bone needle, the healer pricks the skin just beneath the eyes and across the forehead, delivering minute doses of venom to precise points. The woman winces, not from pain but from the strange sensation, a cool, creeping numbness that spreads like a whisper across her face. The process was meticulous, almost surgical. In Egypt, the ritual might take place in a temple dedicated to Wajet, where priestesses chanted hymns to invoke divine protection. The venom, milked from cobras under the watchful eyes of temple guards, was applied with a small brush, targeting the crow's feet and furrows that betrayed age. In Greece, the approach was more clinical. Guided by the teachings of physicians like Hippocrates, healers used acupuncture-like techniques, piercing the skin to deliver venom directly to facial muscles. The goal in both cultures was the same: to paralyze the muscles just enough to smooth wrinkles, creating a face that seemed untouched by time. The immediate effects were mesmerizing. Within minutes, the skin tightened, as if an invisible hand had sculpted it into perfection. Eyes appeared wider, cheekbones sharper, and foreheads as smooth as polished marble. For a few precious hours, the women glowed with a radiance that seemed to defy mortality. But this beauty came at a cost. The venom's paralytic properties could trigger side effects: a burning sensation, red welts, or an eerie numbness that lingered too long. Some women reported headaches or dizziness, their bodies struggling to process the foreign toxin. In rare cases, the venom spread beyond its intended target, causing muscle weakness or, in the most tragic instances, death. Ancient texts, though sparse, hint at these tragedies. A papyrus from Egypt describes a priestess who, after a venom ritual, fell into a deep sleep from which she never woke, her face frozen in a serene smile. In Greece, Galen's writings warn of women who sought beauty and found eternity instead. Yet, these stories did little to deter the practice. The mantra was clear: if you must die, die beautiful. For many, the risk was worth the reward, a chance to embody the divine ideal of youth in a world where age was a merciless thief. From a modern perspective, the science behind these rituals is both fascinating and chilling. The proteins in snake venom, particularly neurotoxins, work by blocking nerve signals to muscles, creating a temporary paralysis that mimics the effects of Botox. But unlike Botox, which is purified and administered under strict medical protocols, ancient venom was a wild card. Its potency varied with each snake, each batch, each application. Without standardized measurements, the line between beauty and disaster was impossibly thin. These rituals were more than cosmetic, they were acts of defiance, a refusal to surrender to time. The women who lay beneath the needle or brush were warriors in their own right, wielding venom as both weapon and shield. Their stories, etched in the annals of history, remind us that beauty has always been a battlefield, where courage and sacrifice are as essential as the tools themselves. As we move forward, we'll explore how these ancient practices faded, only to be reborn in the modern age, where the serpent's legacy lives on in serums and spas. As the sun set on the ancient world, the golden age of venom beauty began to fade, its secrets buried beneath the sands of time. And the rise of new empires, the fall of Cleopatra's Egypt, and the decline of Greece under Roman rule marked a turning point. But the rituals of the serpent's kiss did not vanish entirely. They lingered, whispered in the shadows of Roman bathhouses, and preserved in the scrolls of alchemists who guarded their formulas like sacred relics. The story of snake venom as a tool of beauty did not end with the ancient world. It evolved, finding new life in the laboratories and spas of the modern age, where the pursuit of youth remains as fervent as ever. In the waning days of antiquity, as the Roman Empire stretched its dominion across the Mediterranean, the practices of Egypt and Greece were absorbed into a new cultural mosaic. Roman noblewomen, renowned for their opulent beauty regimens, adopted the venom rituals with their characteristic flair. In the grand bathhouses of Rome, where marble gleamed and perfumed waters flowed, whispers of serpent salves circulated among the elite. These were no longer the sacred rites of Wajet's priestesses or the proto-scientific experiments of Greek healers. Instead, they became luxurious indulgences, performed in private chambers by skilled attendants who blended venom with exotic oils and crushed gemstones, echoing the recipes of Cleopatra's court. A Roman matron, her face smoothed by venom, might recline in a cloud of rose-scented steam, her beauty a testament to the empire's wealth and sophistication. Yet, as Christianity spread and the Roman Empire crumbled, these rituals fell out of favor. The church frowned upon vanity, and the use of deadly substances for beauty was deemed both sinful and dangerous. The knowledge of venom's cosmetic power retreated into obscurity, preserved only in the margins of medical texts or the oral traditions of isolated communities. For centuries, the serpent's gift lay dormant, a forgotten chapter in the history of beauty. Fast forward to the 20th century, when science began to catch up with the ancients' intuition. In the 1970s, researchers studying snake venom for its medical potential stumbled upon its paralytic properties, sparking a revolution in cosmetics. The discovery of botulinum toxin Botox echoed the ancient practice of using venom to smooth wrinkles, but with a crucial difference: modern science could purify and standardize the toxin, making it safer and more predictable. Yet, the story of venom beauty didn't stop with Botox. In the early 2000s, cosmetic chemists, inspired by the legends of Egypt and Greece, began exploring synthetic alternatives to snake venom itself. Enter Syn-ake, a synthetic peptide that mimics the paralyzing effects of viper venom, developed by a Swiss pharmaceutical company. Syn-ake became a darling of the beauty industry, appearing in high-end serums and creams from Seoul to Paris to Beverly Hills. Its mechanism is strikingly similar to the ancient rituals. It relaxes facial muscles, smoothing fine lines and creating a youthful glow. And like the raw venom of cobras and vipers, Syn-ake is safe, controlled, and mass-produced. But its roots trace back to the daring experiments of women who risked everything for beauty. Today, you'll find Syn-ake in luxury skincare lines. Its sleek packaging a far cry from the alabaster vials of ancient Egypt, yet its promise remains the same: the illusion of time standing still. The modern beauty industry, with its gleaming clinics and billion-dollar market, owes a debt to the priestesses and healers of antiquity. The spa in Beverly Hills, where a client reclines under sterile lights as a technician applies a Syn-ake serum, is not so different from the temple chamber where an Egyptian maiden offered her face to the cobra's venom. The tools have changed, but the desire to defy age, to capture the divine spark of youth, remains unchanged. And just as in ancient times, the pursuit of beauty comes at a price. While Syn-ake and Botox are safer than their ancient counterparts, they are not without cost: financial, physical, and philosophical. The serums and injections of today, like the venom rituals of old, demand a willingness to invest in an ideal that is as fleeting as it is seductive. The legacy of venom beauty is a testament to human ingenuity and obsession. From the temples of the Nile to the clinics of the modern world, the serpent's gift has endured, its power harnessed and refined but never fully tamed. As we stand at the crossroads of past and present, one question lingers: what are we willing to sacrifice for the promise of youth? The answer, as we'll explore in the final chapter, lies not just in the rituals themselves but in the timeless human heart that drives them. So, we return to the question that began this journey: would you let a viper's venom touch your skin, knowing it could grant you youth or take your life? The women of ancient Egypt and Greece faced this choice with a courage that borders on the divine. Their faces offered to the serpent's kiss in pursuit of a beauty that transcended mortality. Their stories, etched in stone and whispered through time, force us to confront a deeper truth. The pursuit of beauty is a dance with danger, a gamble where the stakes are as high as the rewards. Reflect for a moment on the women who lay beneath the needle or brush, their hearts pounding as venom seeped into their skin. They were not merely chasing vanity, they were reaching for power, divinity, and immortality in a world that sought to confine them. In Egypt, beauty was a bridge to the gods, a way to embody the eternal. In Greece, it was a philosophy, a reflection of kalos that elevated the soul. For them, the risk was worth it, not just for the mirror's approval but for the influence, the legacy, the chance to be remembered as more than mortal. But what about us? Why do we, in the 21st century, still chase the same elusive ideal, spending fortunes and enduring pain to erase a few lines from our faces? The answer lies in the mirror of human nature. Beauty, in any age, is more than skin deep. It's a currency, a statement, a rebellion against time's relentless march. The women of antiquity risked death for it. Today, we risk our savings, our health, even our authenticity. Botox injections, Syn-ake serums, and countless other treatments are the modern descendants of the cobra's venom, promising to freeze time just as they did thousands of years ago. But the cost is not just financial. Each injection, each application, carries a subtle question: are we enhancing ourselves, or erasing who we are? The pursuit of youth, then as now, is a double-edged sword, empowering yet perilous, liberating yet confining. Consider the irony. The ancients used venom to become goddesses, while we use it to chase an ideal shaped by social media and glossy magazines. Their rituals were sacred. Ours are often driven by pressure to conform. Yet, the impulse is the same: a longing to hold on to something fleeting, to defy the inevitable. The women of Egypt and Greece knew that beauty was a gamble, a pact with forces they could barely control. Today, we face a different kind of risk: the erosion of self in the pursuit of an unattainable standard. The question is not just would you risk it, but what are you risking it for? As we close this tale, let's linger on the image of that Egyptian maiden, her face glowing under the lamplight, or the Athenian noblewoman, her skin smoothed by the viper's touch. They were not so different from us, driven by the same desires, haunted by the same fears. Their story is a reminder that beauty is a conundrum, a force that can uplift or destroy, depending on how we wield it. The serpent's kiss, whether in a temple or a clinic, is a metaphor for this eternal truth. To be beautiful is to stand on the edge of a precipice, where every choice carries the weight of life itself. So, would you risk it? Would you let the venom touch your skin, knowing its power and its price? The answer is yours alone, but as you decide. Remember the women who came before, fearless, flawed, and forever etched in the story of beauty that bites.